Lena, first of all, you are my inspiration. You are nourishment for my soul on a daily basis. You changed the game for women in television. By simply coming out to the world as the brilliantly funny, fiercely intelligent, perfectly flawed goddess of a human being that you are. As a writer, actress, director, activist, book author, podcast host, publisher, and triathlons are annoying, please. You shine your dazzling light into this world, and you challenge the rest of us to find our courage, to live in our truth. And I have never met another artist more eager to lift up the voices of her sisterhood. I would have been content to admire you from afar and to gaze longingly at your face on my vision board for the rest of our lives. So to call you sister, mentor, and friend, to receive this award from you tonight is a profound honor for me. Thank you for who you choose to be in the world. I love you. I want to thank all my friends who are in the audience here supporting me tonight. First and foremost, my husband. The kind of white cisgender male we need more of. My team of representatives who encourage me to be who I am in the world and never once try and stop me from using my voice. To some of my Superstore cast that's here tonight, and my NBC family, Bob Greenblatt and Chip Sullivan. Thank you for standing with HRC and for what is right and what is good. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, truly, for supporting our wonderful show, Superstore, a show that celebrates the value and humor in the lives of Black, brown, Asian, and white people, undocumented people, gay people, disabled people, born-again Christian people, and struggling teen mother people. We know that representation matters. We know this, not just in the media, but in our schools, in our hospitals, in our boardrooms, in our halls of power. We know that it makes all the difference to see ourselves reflected by culture with dignity, with humor, with compassion. It is how most of us learn what is possible for us, what our place in the world is. And too often, we have to spend so many years unlearning what culture has taught us about who we are or ought to be. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can change that. Every single one of us. We can leave the next generation with a better reflection of their innate worth and their inherent power simply by claiming and living in our own power. I didn't grow up seeing a lot of examples of short, brown, chubby, poor daughters of immigrant parents grow up to be successful actresses and loud activists. I had to use my imagination most of the time. But I was extremely fortunate to come across friends, mentors, and teachers who encouraged me to use my talent and my voice. One of those teachers is in the room with us tonight, my high school drama teacher, Sue Freitag. In my senior year of high school, when I struggled with feelings of depression and isolation, she created a safe space for me. I will never forget the first time she invited me to eat my cold pad thai with her in the drama theater room. It was the first time that entire year I felt like I was going to make it through high school. As a member of the LGBTQ community, Ms. Freitag has extended that safe space to countless students and faculty members. She has opened up a dialogue about equality, and she has transformed her campus into a safe one for all of her students and colleagues. I am proud to know her, and I am grateful for the role she played in helping me find my voice. She is the kind of activist we should be supporting and resourcing. Imagine if all of our children and students had a Ms. Freitag on campus and in the classroom. Using my voice as an activist and an advocate is really hard. Not every day. You know, some days I wake up and it feels like something much bigger than myself is compelling me and my beautiful, loud mouth toward action. As if nothing in my power could stop me from doing the work of speaking up and showing up for what I know is right. But some days, it's really hard. Some days I feel tired and inadequate and incapable of making a dent in the world's increasingly numerous and devastating ills. There are days where I'd rather crawl under my bed with a box of Captain Crunch and all 6 seasons of Dawson's Creek. And those are the kinds of days that I am most grateful and most in need of you, my community. You remind me that I am not in this alone, that none of us are alone in this fight. I emerge from those days with the help of my wonderful husband, Ryan, who reminds me that I'm strong and able and that we must keep pushing forward together. I get by with a little help from my friends who make me take a nap and then gently nudge me back into the game. I coax myself back into the fight with friends like Lena, who are also engaged in it and willing to speak openly and honestly about the bad days. I lean heavily on a community that acknowledges it isn't easy to maintain hope and optimism in the face of setbacks, losses, backlash. It's difficult to persist in light of attacks on our rights, in light of attacks on our community's physical safety, and in light of attacks on our spiritual well-being. And I find it necessary that we acknowledge and honor what this moment in history is actually demanding of us, what we must demand of ourselves. We are all being called to rise up to a level of consciousness and a level of action that we never imagined we would be called to. We are being called not only to resist dangerous ideals and dangerous people, but to offer alternatives. We are being called to stand together, to fight together, breathe together, rejuvenate together, and to nurture and to protect one another. We are called as allies in the resistance, but also allies in our sustenance. We are being called to use our creativity, our platforms, our resources to do the work, and also to lift up the good work that is already being done by organizations like HRC. Thank you to the Human Rights Campaign for this distinction. It's truly wonderful to be recognized as an ally to this critical organization. But I must confess that anything I've ever done on behalf of the LGBTQ community, I did in service to myself. Anything I ever did for the rights of this community, I did because I believe with every fiber of my being that my liberation is bound up in the liberation of my LGBTQ brothers and sisters. And in the liberation of my Black brothers and sisters, and in the liberation of immigrants and refugees and Muslims and Sikhs and women all over the world, and the incarcerated and the criminalized and the uneducated and the poor and the hungry and. In this moment of history, more than ever before, I am willing to bet that we will claim our humanity and our equality together or not at all. This value is one I know is ingrained in the DNA of the Human Rights Campaign. The LGBTQ community lives and suffers inequity within every race, every religion, and every nationality, as Chad said. So I thank you, HRC and Chad, for being an ally to me and to all of our communities in this fight for equality. I know you're not going anywhere, and I'm sure as hell not going anywhere, so let's do this.